For example 22, we're going to be looking at dividing a decimal by a decimal. So in our problem here, we have 13 and 14 hundredths divided by a negative 1 and 8 tenths. Again, we follow our same sign rules where if you have a positive divided by a positive or a negative divided by a negative, that is going to result in a positive quotient. So again, same signs give you a positive. And when you divide different signs, so a negative divided by a positive or a positive divided by a negative, that would result in a negative. In this problem, we have a positive divided by a negative, so our answer is going to be a negative. So we don't need to worry about any of the signs until the end. We'll just place that negative sign on whatever our quotient is when we divide. Before we start here, I'm going to make a little estimate. So I see that the negative 1.8 is close to 2. So I'm going to just make that a 2, and I'm going to round 13 up to 14. And 14 divided by 2, that gives us 7. So now I know that my answer should be somewhere around 7. I should have an answer of around 7. And again, because it was positive divided by negative, that would be a negative 7. Now we could begin the actual division process. So we have 13 and 14 hundredths divided by a negative 1 and 8 tenths. The first number goes inside the division box. So we would put 13 and 14 hundredths on the inside. And 1 and the 8 tenths goes outside. Now we can't divide with this decimal on the outside. So we need to multiply this by a power of 10 until it gets over to make it a whole number. So in this case, we only need to move it one spot, so we would multiply it by 10. If we multiplied 1.8 by 10, that moves this decimal one spot. Because we move the outside one spot, we also have to move the inside one spot. So our new problem is actually 18 on the outside, and we're dividing 131 and 4 tenths by 18. And now we would just follow our division process, our normal division process that we have been following. 18 can't go into 1, it can't go into 13, so now we look at 131. 18 goes into 131. Because our estimate is around 7, I'm going to try 7 to start. So we'll start with 7. 7 times 10 is 70, and 7 times 8 is 56. 70 and 56 gives us 126. So that 7 does work for us. That leaves us with 131 minus 126, which is 5. We bring down the 4. It's important to remember to bring up this decimal point, so the decimal point stays where it would be. And now 18 goes into 54 3 times. And that ends up being 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 8 is 24. That leaves us with 54. So we could stop because we ended up with a terminating decimal. And what this means is that 13 and 14 hundredths divided by a negative 1 and 8 tenths is equal to a negative 7 and 3 tenths. So again, if we check our answer with our estimate of negative 7, our estimate got us pretty close to where our answer is. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we did all of our work correct, and the negative 7 and 3 tenths is our correct answer for this.